This episode is brought to you by my self-care coaching. Oh, this has been firing me up, y'all. If you haven't heard by now, I am now offering self-care coaching. These are one-on-one calls that I'm offering at an introductory rate where I take you through my 3-tier self-care coaching system. It's something I've been doing with my whole 30 clients for a couple of years, and I thought I need to be able to offer this to more people because obviously, if you're listening in every week, self-care is something you're obviously interested in, but it can be kind of overwhelming thinking about where to start. And the most misconception I hear from my clients is they're like, Emily, I just don't have the time. Well, I hate the saying, but we do all have the same 24 hours in the day, but every 24 hours in each person's day looks completely different. So we'll go through what you're doing daily and figure out ways that we can habit stack these new self-care routines on top of what you're already doing. So eventually this routine becomes an ingrained habit that you do every day to help you feel your best. And like I always say, put your oxygen mask on first. So visit the show notes to learn more and sign up. I have a lot of calls filling up. My space is pretty limited, but I hope to see you. And when I say see you, we will be doing a video call together, but you can show up in your yoga pants and a top knot. Perfectly okay with me. But visit the show notes, schedule your call, and let's help you start living your best life through self-care. Let's get to the show. Hey friend, welcome to the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. I'm your host, Emily Nichols. As a Whole30 certified coach, wife, busy working boy mom, and your self-care guru, I'm here to help you start putting yourself first without the guilt. Each week you'll hear motivating and practical tips on how you can create a habit of self-care through interviews with my amazing guests or quick solo episodes with me. After each episode, you'll walk away with an action plan and feel empowered to implement what you have learned into your life. So grab a cup of coffee, glass of wine, or your favorite sparkling water, and let's do this. You're listening to episode 33 of the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. If you hear some jamming here in the background, my oldest son's down the hallway from me playing on his electric guitar. He got a new amp for his birthday from his grandpa, and holy moly, it is super loud. So I'm tucked away in my closet here, but this is real life as a mom. But, he's playing some good stuff. He's playing some Nirvana, some Leonard Skinner, AC/DC, some classics. I like it. But just so you know, if you hear some jamming in the background, that's just my real life. So this week is just a quickie episode with me. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that's been on my mind a little bit. And that is when self-care is being self-serving. And you're probably like, Emily, the show is called Self-Care Isn't Selfish. Aren't I, isn't self-care self-serving in a way? Well, not exactly. So let me expand on this a little bit. Let me tell you what the definition of self-serving means. It really means the underlying intent is selfish and you're just really not considering the feelings of others. Self-care should never be about depleting someone else or just having no regard for anyone else's feelings. So quickly, I'm going to go through 3 things for you to ponder on when it comes to your self-care and really just do some self-evaluation. So number 1, don't use self-care as an excuse for when you don't want to deal with hard things. Not dealing with hard things is not self-care. Sometimes there's just going to be hard things that happen in your life and you have to deal with them, whether it be a hard conversation or an illness. And avoiding it is not getting to the resolution or coming to a conclusion with your feelings on something. So just avoiding it is not a form of self-care. Number 2, self-care, it has its limits. So let me expand on this. Think of the golden rule. Do unto others how you want them to do unto you. Let me explain this a little bit. So my self-care routine to me is very sacred. My children to me are very sacred. My time with my husband is very sacred. if I was spending all of my day and being like, well, this is self-care, I'm doing this, I'm avoiding, helping my kids with this, I'm avoiding having this conversation with my husband, this is all just self-care, I'm taking care of myself. That's not going to really make them feel good. I feel like there's a way to schedule your self-care routine in order for it to not feel selfish, hence the name of the show, in order for it to fill you up, but not at the expense of your loved ones. You would never want them to do that to you, so don't do that to them. So like I said, self-care has its limits, and really just think about how you're impacting the feelings of others, because you need to think about that as well, but not so much that you feel guilty or selfish. There's got to be some strategy around your self-care routine, and that's what I help my coaching clients do. And lastly, kind of do some value-based decision making when it comes to self-care. So let me kind of expand on this. So say you have a friend that wants you to come out to dinner with them, and you just really cannot. You're emotionally and physically depleted at the end of the week, and you do not want to go. I feel like there's a balance between either one. So you could choose to show up for a friend because maybe they've been having a really hard time. And by showing up for them, you're going to really help light them up and therefore, light you up as well. Or you could choose to love them from afar and say, I really can't do that tonight, but lovingly explain to them why, taking their feelings into consideration. Now, I know you've heard me say on the show before, you don't need to give anyone an excuse. You can say no. Yes, you can. However, I think there's a balance in between that where you are able to show up or not show up and be sensitive to people's feelings and just be a good human being. Okay. Like the show says, self-care isn't selfish, but like I said, it does have its limits. And I really want you to take some time to do some self-evaluation to think about, is my self-care routine filling me up, or is it just self-serving? Is it coming across as selfish? Like I said, I help my clients figure out the way to make their self-care routine an ingrained habit, but not let them feel guilty and not let them feel like they're taking away time from the people that matter the most. So ponder on this week. Tag me on Instagram at EmilyNichols22 or at Self-Care Isn't Selfish Podcast if this episode resonated with you. And don't forget to leave a rating and review in iTunes. As I always say, it does make it easier to help find the show. And we've been climbing up the charts. I'm so excited and so grateful for you all. So let me know what you think of this episode. I hope to see you all here next week. And remember, self-care isn't selfish. Bye.